My fiancée, Victoria Sterling, got involved with her secretary, Trevor Miller, used a photo of me and Charlotte, or my sister, to falsely accuse me of sleeping with clients, and at the company banquet, she threw photos in my face, calling me a scumbag who sleeps his way to success. She even had her secretary, Trevor Miller, snatch my phone and smash it, then publicly slapped me and fired me. What was even more disgusting was that they locked me in my room, and they had their affair until dawn in the next room. The result was that on the day of the IPO, I immediately had someone expose her financial fraud. The SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, arrested her and her secretary, Trevor Miller, on the spot, and the company instantly went bankrupt. In the end, she was sentenced to 10 years, and her secretary, Trevor Miller, to 5 years. On the screen, photos of me and major clients were still scrolling, one after another. In the photos, I was either walking side by side with those women or toasting with them. There was even one where a woman had her arm around my waist as we walked into a hotel. Hearing my question, Victoria Sterling took her gaze from the screen and looked at me coldly, saying nothing. "Are you sure you want to fire me tonight?" I asked again. Evrion's eyes turned to her, full of sympathy and pity. Ignoring the employees' gazes, she slowly walked up to me, her face full of disdain. "Ethan Davison, what right do you have to stay here? Every bit of the company's performance was earned by Evrion's hard work, and you're the only exception. Did I ever lack your money, or your love for you to humiliate me this way? Don't tell me these women are the reason you absolutely refuse to let me manage the clients." She suddenly pulled a stack of photos from her pocket and slammed them hard into my face. The sharp edges of the photos grazed my face and scattered on the ground. A sharp sting came, and I raised my hand, feeling a patch of crimson. "The company's IPO is my lifelong dream, and I will never allow a scumbag like you to ruin it, even if you are my fiancée." Looking at the elegant and aloof woman before me, I simply thought she had misunderstood me because of the photos, and patiently explained, "Victoria Sterling, others don't believe me, but you don't either. My performance, I earned it myself, and it has nothing to do with those photos." "Earned it yourself?" Trevor Miller suddenly interjected, his tone full of sarcasm. "What did you earn?" "Your bedroom skills. We've all heard that your collaborations with major clients were really in-depth." A burst of laughter erupted around, and someone whispered in agreement, "Exactly. Who knows how many clients' beds he had to sleep in to get those results? We used to admire him so much, and secretly learned from him. Everyone kicked me while I was down. I never expected that colleagues with whom I usually had good relationships would kick me when I'm down like this." I clenched my jaw, trying to stay calm. "Those photos don't prove anything. My interactions with them were just normal business dealings." "Were they normal business dealings in bed? Then explain this photo." Trevor Miller picked up the photo from the ground of me being embraced by a woman entering a hotel. "This is a high-definition video screenshot. Do you want me to play the full video for everyone to see?" I stared at the photo, then suddenly smiled with a sense of relief. The woman in the photo was my sister, Charlotte Davison. That night, I was drunk, and had intended to call Victoria Sterling to pick me up, but I called Charlotte, or my sister, instead. It just so happened that Charlotte, or my sister, had rushed from Metropolis to act as our mom and dad's persuader, hoping I'd stop being angry with the family. She arrived just in time to rescue me from a group of women trying to take advantage. Who would have thought that Charlotte, or my sister, bringing me to a hotel to rest would be captured by someone with ulterior motives? No wonder, ever since that night, Victoria Sterling's attitude towards me had been unusually strange, hot and cold. She was quite patient, holding out until I helped her secure various major clients, and secretly used family connections to get her company listed. Only then did she erupt tonight. Although her distrust was quite disappointing, she was the first woman I had ever truly fallen for. I didn't want us to miss out on each other because of a misunderstanding. Nor did I want Mom and Dad to know that my first head-over-heels love had died prematurely, because I fled Metropolis to escape the arranged marriage, strategic alliance marriage my Mom and Dad had planned. I wanted to choose my own beloved to progress alongside her, not to enter a commercial arranged marriage, strategic alliance marriage without any emotional foundation. I had never mentioned any of this to anyone, including Victoria Sterling. I was afraid that if she knew I was the Davison family heir, the scion of the Davison fortune, she would feel inferior, insecure, and then overwhelmed. The women who had surrounded me since childhood had always liked me because of my status. I hated those purposeful flatteries. I loved the starry-eyed gaze Victoria Sterling gave me. The beautiful memories of the past made me involuntarily laugh out loud. "What are you laughing at?" Victoria Sterling frowned, her tone laced with disgust. "At a time like this, you can still laugh." I looked up, meeting Victoria Sterling's eyes, directly, Do you really think I'm the kind of a kept man who sleeps his way to the top? What else? She sneered. What else do you think you have that makes me look up to you? My chest tightened, from emotional pain, as if an invisible hand had gripped it tightly, making it hard to breathe. I took a deep breath and slowly said, "The woman in the photo is my sister, Charlotte Davison." "Your sister?" Trevor Miller burst into laughter. "Do you think we're idiots? Calling a sworn sister your real sister? Do you call every woman you sleep with your sister? Sounds quite interesting, actually." The laughter around us grew even more grating, and someone even whistled. Victoria Sterling's eyes were full of scorn. "Enough. Stop making a spectacle of yourself here. Take your termination letter and get out. From now on, you and I have nothing to do with each other." I clutched the termination letter in my hand, my heart chilling. For 5 years, I concealed my identity, paving the way for her as an ordinary employee to help her company grow stronger and larger quickly. But now, I had personally helped her reach the pinnacle of her career, and she was going to use me, and then cast me aside. I wasn't a sore loser. I just considered the past 5 years wasted 5 years of my life. "Victoria Sterling, you'll regret this." Victoria Sterling heard my soft murmur, and reacted as if she'd heard a huge joke, the funniest thing I'd ever heard. "Regret?" She scoffed. "My biggest regret is ever meeting you, you scumbag, jerk who is everywhere selling himself." With that, she extended her hand to Trevor Miller beside her. The two exchanged a smile and walked hand in hand to the center of the banquet hall. Only then did I notice that Trevor Miller's designer suit and her low-cut evening gown were high-end matching outfits. Victoria Sterling raised their clasped hands, her voice sweet and confident. "Tomorrow, we will usher in the most important moment in our company's history, the IPO. All of this is thanks to the efforts of everyone here. May we continue to work together to create more brilliance." Thunderous applause and cheers erupted. The flattering voices praising her and Trevor Miller as a golden couple, power couple clearly reached my ears. Victoria Sterling's gaze swept over me but did not linger, as if I were just an irrelevant stranger. Looking at the woman I had loved for 5 years, I finally understood why Mom and Dad always said my judgment was poor. It turns out I was indeed blinded by my emotions, made a terrible judgment, failing to realize that Trevor Miller, her secretary, Trevor Miller, had been involved with Victoria Sterling all along. But as the Davison family heir, the scion of the Davison fortune, being blinded by my emotions, made a terrible judgment doesn't mean I lack capability. I can elevate her to a high position, and I can also make her fall hard from the clouds. Without me, I'd like to see how many days this company can hold up after its listing. I clutched the termination letter in my hand and turned to leave this suffocating place. However, as soon as I took a step, Gary Henderson, Manager Henderson, from HR blocked my way, a hypocritical smile on his face. "Ethan Davison, don't be in such a hurry to leave." He adjusted his glasses, his tone carrying an unyielding firmness. "The company has a policy that you need to sign a statement before leaving, declaring that all your actions during your time at the company are unrelated to the company. Also, the non-compete agreement needs to be signed, so you don't use underhanded means to poach our clients after you leave." Previously, everyone knew I was Victoria Sterling's fiancée, and since I always managed to sign major clients for the company, everyone treated me with respect. Especially Gary Henderson, Manager Henderson, who at that time would humbly call me boss to curry favor. Now, he looked down on me with a sneer, as if to reclaim his superiority. I looked at his petty behavior, contemptible display, and said coldly, "Statement. Non-compete agreement. Why do you think I'll sign?" Gary Henderson, Manager Henderson, S smile instantly vanished, and his tone became sharp. "Why? Because of your shady dealings. The company has already been benevolent enough not to pursue legal action against you, so don't be unappreciative, biting the hand that feeds you." I scoffed in return. "Shady dealings. Do you have proof?" "Just a few photos taken out of context." "Proof?" Trevor Miller walked over, pointing at my phone. "Isn't the proof right there in your phone? Who knows how many client contacts you have saved? Maybe you're planning to go out and hook up with them all, to find another path, seek new opportunities." As he spoke, Gary Henderson, Manager Henderson, reached for my phone. I was caught off guard, and my phone was snatched away. "Give it back." Trevor Miller, however, took the phone Gary Henderson, Manager Henderson, handed him and quickly stepped back. "Look how nervous you are. Seems like there's a lot of shady stuff in your phone." He asked Victoria Sterling for my password, but found that neither her birthday nor our anniversary could unlock it. Victoria Sterling, losing patience, snatched the phone and ordered the security guards to hold me still. She tried to use Face Unlock, but the phone, after several failed unlock attempts, could only be unlocked with a password. "What's the password?" From the moment I confirmed our relationship, my phone password had always been the date I first confessed my feelings to her. It was ridiculous that she had forgotten. But it was not surprising. Victoria Sterling, unable to unlock my phone, felt increasingly embarrassed in front of her employees, her face as dark as the bottom of a pot. Ethan Davison, you keep saying those photos are a misunderstanding, so why did you secretly change your password behind my back? Her questioning bored me immensely. It's the date I first confessed my feelings to you. She was stunned for a long time, unable to recall the date, her face a kaleidoscope of emotions. I forcefully broke free from the security guard's hold, and snatched my phone back from her. She looked at me unlocking the phone with a complex expression, her lips moving. The next second, however, she snatched my phone again, trying to see if there was any evidence of infidelity on it. Upon seeing the intimate selfie of me and Charlotte, or my sister, she became furious. Ethan Davison, you really are something. The evidence is conclusive. What more do you have to say? I told you, she's my Charlotte, or my sister. Give me back my phone. This is robbery, this is slander, this is an invasion of my privacy. Victoria Sterling raised her hand, slapped my face, and then forcefully smashed my phone on the ground. The phone screen instantly shattered, fragments scattering everywhere. I covered my burning face, infuriated, and raised my hand to push her, but was controlled by the security guards again. Victoria Sterling, provoked by my intense reaction, spoke coldly. Ethan Davison, don't make yourself sound so innocent. If you hadn't groveled to those women, would you have had your glorious achievements? Don't tell me you offered yourself to them for my sake. How disgusting. I looked up at her, my eyes full of disappointment. Victoria Sterling, do you have to humiliate me like this? She smiled carelessly. Humiliation. Do you even deserve it? Faced with her distrust and humiliation, I felt utterly wronged. Fine, since you won't be reasonable, let's call the police and see if it's you spreading rumors, or me being improper. Call the police. She looked at me coldly. Do you think you still have a chance? You have no shame, but I do. I'm so glad I only got engaged to you, and didn't marry you. Otherwise, you'd be the shame of my life. I stared at the shattered phone on the ground, and the anger in my heart finally erupted. Victoria Sterling, since you dare to treat me like this, don't even think about the IPO tomorrow. Ha ha ha. A burst of laughter erupted around us. Ethan Davison, have you gone mad? Trevor Miller clutched his stomach, laughing uncontrollably. Who do you think you are? You can influence the company's IPO. Victoria Sterling also looked at me mockingly. Do you think you're the Davison family heir, the scion of the Davison fortune? That you can make my IPO plans fall through with a single word? I looked up, meeting her eyes, and said each word clearly. That's right. I actually am the Davison family heir, the scion of the Davison fortune, and the woman in the photo is my sister, Charlotte Davison. The laughter grew louder. Ethan Davison, have you been driven crazy? Gary Henderson, Manager Henderson, laughed, slapping the table. If you're the Davison family heir, the scion of the Davison fortune, then I'm William Davison, the CEO of Davison Group. Exactly, exactly. Others chimed in. If you're the Davison family heir, the scion of the Davison fortune, we'll eat our hat. I looked at them coldly, a sarcastic smile playing on my lips. William Davison is my dad, not you ignorant fools. You don't believe me. Right. You ignorant fools who only spouting vile insults, spewing venom, and follow the crowd probably eat too much crap, every day. My words provoked Evrion's anger. Believe you. Believe you're a kept man. Pretty boy who sleeps his way to the top. The crowd's laughter pushed the banquet atmosphere to a climax. Victoria Sterling shook her head, looking at me with pity and disdain, her tone full of contempt. Ethan Davison, stop making a spectacle of yourself here. Get out. Don't dirty my floor. And don't even say you have any connection to me. I clenched my fists, my nails digging deep into my palms. The rage in my heart almost consumed me, but I knew it wasn't time to unleash it yet. Fine, I'll go, but remember this, I will repay today's humiliation twofold. Another burst of laughter erupted. Repay twofold. Trevor Miller, wrapping an arm around Victoria Sterling, laughed until tears streamed down his face. Ethan Davison, have you watched too many TV shows? Repay twofold. Do you think you're the male lead, with your own halo? Victoria Sterling, hearing this, waved her hand as if shooing away a beggar. All right, stop playing the tragic hero here, just get out. Don't delay our celebration. I took one last look at her, then turned, and left. Behind me, waves of mockery and insults echoed, but I no longer cared. Leaving the banquet hall, I bought a new phone and dialed a number. Before the IPO tomorrow, I want Victoria Sterling to lose everything. The other end of the line was silent for a moment. Then a low voice replied, understood, young master. Hanging up the phone, I looked up at the night sky, a cold smile playing on my lips. Victoria Sterling, you thought you won. Unfortunately, the game has just begun. If you are heartless, don't blame me for being unjust. I returned to the home I had shared with Victoria Sterling for 5 years and began packing my luggage. In the wardrobe, the clothes, shoes, and hats I had carefully chosen for her now seemed only ironic. I threw them one by one into the suitcase, along with the photos and gifts that held memories, all into the fireplace. Flames burned fiercely, consuming everything. I watched those once cherished things turn to ash, feeling no ripple in my heart. Just then, the door opened. Victoria Sterling walked in with Trevor Miller. "What are you doing?" Victoria Sterling frowned, looking at everything burning to ashes in the fireplace. I didn't even lift my head, continuing to throw the last item into the fire, packing, leaving. Trevor Miller scoffed, tightening his arm around Victoria Sterling's waist. "Victoria, he's playing hard to get. Trying to make your heart ache, for you, him." Victoria Sterling looked at me coldly. "Ethan Davison, don't waste your efforts. These things should be burned clean, it's good. I don't want any more ties with you." As she spoke, she took off the matching rings, engagement rings on her finger, and threw them directly into the fire. I glanced at the ring I had personally designed, and pulled at the corner of my mouth. "Don't worry, I'm not interested in playing hard to get with you. It's just that these things are disgusting to keep." Trevor Miller smiled triumphantly and walked up to me. "Ethan Davison, you can leave, but your luggage needs to be checked. Who knows if you've smuggled anything out, or stolen any valuables." I looked at him coldly. "Why do you have the right to check my luggage?" "Because I'm Victoria's fiancé, and because you're now a scumbag, jerk who's been kicked out." With that, he kicked open my suitcase. The contents of the suitcase scattered across the floor, only a few changes of clothes and toiletries. Trevor Miller paused, then sneered. "Oh, is that all? Looks like these past few years, besides sleeping your way up, you've really been useless." Victoria Sterling looked at the clothes on the floor, her eyes dark. "Pack up and leave quickly. Don't be an eyesore here." I squatted down and picked up the scattered clothes one by one. Trevor Miller hypocritically walked over, pretending to help, but then suddenly whispered in my ear, "Ethan Davison, do you know? Victoria is pregnant. The moment the company goes public tomorrow, I'll tell her this good news. What do you think? Will she propose to me on the spot, and ask me to marry her?" I ignored him and continued packing my luggage. Trevor Miller suddenly stumbled, fell to the ground, and clutched his chest, shouting, "Ethan Davison, I was trying to help you. Why did you push me?" Victoria Sterling immediately rushed over, helped Trevor Miller up, and glared at me. "Ethan Davison, apologize." I stood up and said coldly, "I didn't push him." Trevor Miller gasped in pain, but still looked at Victoria Sterling with red eyes. My chest tightened, from emotional pain. Victoria Sterling, full of tender concern, immediately gave him a comforting kiss. When she turned to me, her face turned livid as if by magic. "Ethan Davison, apologize. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." I wanted to see how impolite she would be to me. Why should I apologize for something I didn't do? Victoria Sterling trembled with rage, suddenly took out her phone, and quickly operated it a few times. A few seconds later, my phone vibrated. I opened it and saw that Victoria Sterling had actually packaged and sent those so-called intimate photos to the industry circle. Although the clients' faces were blurred, my face was clearly visible. "Ethan Davison, you're not stubborn, refusing to admit, are you? I'd like to see how you'll survive in this circle now." I clutched my phone, my heart chilling. I knew that she did this simply because she was afraid I would steal her clients, completely cutting off my future. Trevor Miller looked at me triumphantly. "Ethan Davison, your reputation is ruined, completely disgraced now. From now on, you probably won't even be as good as a dog." I gave them both a cold glance and turned to leave. "Stop. Ethan Davison, don't think this is over." Victoria Sterling suddenly called out to me, her voice tinged with ruthlessness. "I'll let you know the consequences of betraying me." She was clearly the one who betrayed me first, yet she was shifting all the blame onto me. I chuckled and returned her words. "Victoria Sterling, don't think this is over either. I'll let you know the consequences of offending me." Enraged, she and Trevor Miller immediately grabbed me and dragged me back into the room. "I knew you were up to something. I won't let you ruin my IPO. Tomorrow, just wait and see how I ascend to power, while you'll only be fit to live the rest of your life in regret." With that, she locked me in the guest room, while she and Trevor Miller indulged in their affair, spent the night together intimately in the master bedroom until dawn. Since she wanted me to witness her spectacular downfall, then I would grant her wish. The day of the company's IPO finally arrived. Victoria Sterling stood in the stock exchange lobby, in a flowing white dress, a determined smile on her face. Trevor Miller held her arm, impeccably dressed in a suit, his smile polite. The two stood under the spotlights, truly a golden couple, power couple. Ms. Sterling, congratulations. Reporters swarmed. Microphones almost thrust into Victoria Sterling's face. With the IPO today, what would you like to say to everyone? Victoria Sterling smiled slightly, her tone confident and poised. Today is the most important moment in our company's history. I want to thank all shareholders, employees, and partners for their support. In the future, we will continue to work hard and create more brilliance. Trevor Miller also said loudly, yes, Victoria has put a lot of effort into this day. I believe that under her leadership, the company will only get better and better. Reporters frantically snapped photos, documenting this shining moment, as female CEOs of listed companies were still quite rare. Some even expressed curiosity about Victoria Sterling's and Trevor Miller's relationship. Victoria Sterling took out a pair of matching rings, engagement rings, and looked at Trevor Miller deeply. Trevor, will you marry me at the most glorious moment of my life? Trevor Miller's eyes instantly welled up, moved to tears. I will. Victoria Sterling glanced coolly at me, controlled by security in the corner, then wrapped her arms around Trevor Miller's neck, and kissed him passionately in front of everyone. The screams and applause around nearly pierced my eardrums. Victoria Sterling's proposal had just ended, and the atmosphere in the entire stock exchange lobby reached a climax. Reporters frantically pressed their shutters, camera flashes almost illuminating the entire hall. Victoria Sterling nestled in Trevor Miller's arms, a blissful smile on her face, as if she had already reached the pinnacle of her life. However, just then, someone suddenly noticed me in the corner. Isn't that Ms. Sterling's ex-boyfriend? How does he still have the nerve to show up here? A sharp voice broke the harmony of the scene. Evrion's eyes instantly focused on me, as if I were some dirty, unspeakable thing. Victoria Sterling and Trevor Miller also deliberately followed the crowd's gaze. Trevor Miller's eyes held a hint of triumph, while Victoria Sterling's face was full of scorn. Oh my God, how dare he still come? Hasn't he been blacklisted by the industry? Scornful whispers arose, not too loud, but just loud enough for everyone to hear. I heard he slept his way to the top, and now that Ms. Sterling dumped him, he probably hasn't given up and wants her back. He's truly shameless. He was even photographed entering hotels with so many women, and he still dares to show up here. He's utterly depraved. Someone directly shouted insults, completely disregarding the occasion. Victoria Sterling, seeing this, a cold sneer played on her lips. She released Trevor Miller and slowly walked up to me, speaking with feigned heartache. Ethan Davison, how dare you still show up here? I've given you chances, but you stubbornly refuse to repent and insist on humiliating yourself. I looked at her coldly, not responding. Victoria Sterling, seeing my silence, assumed I was guilty and became even more triumphant. Everyone, I know you may have some misunderstandings about him, but today I must clarify. Although Ethan Davison was once my fiancé, he abused his position to have improper relationships with multiple clients, even going so far as selling himself for performance. I repeatedly advised him to change his ways, but he remained unrepentant, so I had no choice but to break off our engagement. As soon as her words fell, the scene erupted in an uproar. Oh my God, Ms. Sterling is truly pitiful to have been deceived by such a scumbag, jerk for so long. Exactly. Such an excellent woman like Ms. Sterling, wasted so many years on a scumbag, jerk like him. What a shame. Victoria Sterling's words garnered Evrion's sympathy, while I was drowned in a torrent of insults. Trevor Miller, seeing my miserable state, walked over and put his arm around Victoria Sterling's waist to assert his claim. Victoria, don't be sad. This kind of man isn't worth your tears. Now you have me, and I'll always be by your side. Victoria Sterling nodded, looking at Trevor Miller affectionately. Trevor, thank you. With you by my side, I feel like life has meaning. The two gazed deeply at each other, as if I didn't even exist. Just then, a few influencers suddenly took out their phones, opened their live streaming platforms, and aimed their cameras at me. Everyone, look. This is that kept man who sleeps his way to the top, Ethan Davison. He actually dared to show up at Ms. Sterling's IPO event today. He's absolutely shameless. The live stream comments instantly exploded. Oh my God, is this that shameless, obstinate guy? He's quite handsome, but I didn't expect him to be so dirty and play so many games. Isn't he afraid of getting sick? I heard he hooked up with many clients, so disgusting. Ms. Sterling is truly pitiful to have been deceived by this kind of man for so long. This kind of scumbag should be blacklisted from the industry and never be allowed to make a comeback. I looked at the insulting comments, but felt no ripple in my heart. I knew this was all arranged by Victoria Sterling and Trevor Miller. They just wanted to ruin my reputation, completely disgrace me in front of everyone, to completely destroy my name. The louder they boasted now, the more miserably they would cry later. Victoria Sterling, seeing my continued silence, suddenly felt a pang of unease. She frowned and asked in a low voice, "Ethan Davison, what exactly do you want? Don't tell me you think pretending to be pitiful will make me look at you again." I glanced at her indifferently, still not answering. Just then, several major clients, who had been invited, walked over. They looked at me, then at Victoria Sterling, a hint of confusion on their faces. "Miss Sterling, is this Mr. Davison really the kind of person you said he was?" Facing the client's questioning, Victoria Sterling froze for a moment, then nodded. "That's right. He is that kind of person. You must not be fooled by his appearance. You can know a person's face but not their heart. Some people appear to be decent, but secretly." She hadn't finished speaking when another client suddenly interrupted her. "Miss Sterling, are you sure? Mr. Davison is one of our company's most important partners. We've all seen his capabilities and character." Victoria Sterling's face instantly turned ugly. She hadn't expected these clients to speak up for me. Trevor Miller, seeing this, immediately interjected, "Everyone, don't be fooled by him. All his so-called achievements were gained through improper means. Look, this is a video of him entering a hotel with another woman. Conclusive evidence." As he spoke, he took out his phone and played the video. In the video, Charlotte, or my sister, and I walked side by side into the hotel, looking indeed somewhat intimate. The clients, seeing this, immediately hesitated. "This. Mr. Davison, what exactly is going on?" a client asked me, frowning. I smiled faintly, about to explain, when suddenly, several well-dressed, affluent women walked towards me. They looked at the video, then at me, their faces extremely displeased. "Oh, so you were playing so many of us at once. Let's see how I deal with you, you kept man. Pretty boy." One of the wealthy women pointed at me, screaming. Once one person started, others joined in the humiliation. "No wonder you always said you were busy when I tried to reach you recently. Turns out you were busy in someone else's bed. Ethan Davison, you're truly shameless, seducing so many women, and still daring to show up here." The wealthy women pointed at me one after another, their insults endless. Victoria Sterling and Trevor Miller, seeing this, showed triumphant smiles on their faces. They thought that by simply finding a few people to slander me, I would never be able to recover. "Everyone, please don't get agitated. Ethan Davison is not worth your anger," Trevor Miller hypocritically advised. Victoria Sterling also nodded in agreement. "Exactly. His reputation is ruined, completely disgraced, and he'll never be able to establish himself in this industry again." I looked at their smug faces, and couldn't help but anticipate the coming chaos. Just then, my phone rang. I answered the call, and said calmly, "Begin." Victoria Sterling and Trevor Miller looked at each other, bewildered by my words. They didn't know what I was planning, but a strong sense of unease welled up within them. "Ethan Davison, what exactly do you want to do?" "Victoria Sterling, for the sake of the past 5 years, I'm giving you a big gift." I ignored her gnashing teeth, silently watching the countdown on the screen, smiling brightly. An urgent news alert suddenly flashed on the stock exchange's large screen. Breaking news. Sterling Group suspected of financial fraud and commercial bribery. An investigation has been launched by the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. The entire hall instantly erupted in an uproar. Victoria Sterling's face instantly turned pale, and she abruptly turned to Trevor Miller. "What's going on?" Trevor Miller also panicked, stammering, I don't know. How could this happen?" Reporters immediately turned their cameras to Victoria Sterling. "Ms. Sterling, what is your response to this news? Is the company truly involved in financial fraud?" Victoria Sterling tried to maintain her composure, forcing a smile. "This must be a misunderstanding. We will clarify it as soon as possible." However, no sooner had she spoken than a stock exchange staff member walked over, his tone serious. "Miss Victoria Sterling, I apologize, but due to your company's suspected violations, the IPO process is temporarily suspended. Please cooperate with the investigation." Victoria Sterling's face instantly turned ashen. She clenched her fists, her body trembling uncontrollably. Trevor Miller also panicked, pulling her arm, and whispering, "Victoria, what do we do? What should we do?" Victoria Sterling violently shook off his hand, her eyes fierce. "Shut up. It's all your fault. If you hadn't encouraged me to do those things in the first place, how would it have come to this?" Trevor Miller froze, then shrieked, "Victoria Sterling, what do you mean? You personally approved those things. Now that something's gone wrong, you want to push all the blame on me." The two began to tear at each other under the watchful eyes of the crowd, and the scene quickly spiraled out of control. I stood in the corner, coldly watching it all unfold. I thought their love was as strong as gold. It was nothing more than this. Victoria Sterling suddenly turned her head, her gaze fixed on me, Ethan Davison, was it you? I looked at her calmly, and retorted, Victoria Sterling, you overestimate me. How could a kept man, pretty boy who only sleeps his way to the top have such power? She heard the implied meaning, and glared at me furiously. Besides you, who else would hate me so much? I shook my head, looking at her with pity. Victoria Sterling, you're wrong. I never wanted to destroy you. You destroyed yourself. From the moment Victoria Sterling revealed her true colors, I realized something was off. Her eagerness to drive me out of the company, and her relentless pursuit of my ruin couldn't just be about infidelity and betrayal. I grew up immersed in the Davison Group's business with Dad, so I was somewhat sensitive to some underhanded dealings, shady practices within companies. Before, I trusted Victoria Sterling. When I questioned, she answered, and I believed her. Now that she was a petty person, her previous explanations were naturally full of loopholes. However, I never thought Victoria Sterling would be utterly foolish, blinded by greed enough to commit various financial frauds just for the sake of the IPO. This also explained why the listing, which I had estimated would take another year, was now able to be expedited. I had thought Mom and Dad were secretly helping Victoria Sterling, but I never expected she was self-sabotage, digging her own grave. She saw I wouldn't admit it, and roared in anger, you're lying. How could I destroy myself? Financial fraud, commercial bribery. Didn't you personally commit these acts? Did you think you could deceive everyone and rest easy? Unfortunately, justice always catches up. The truth will come out. Victoria Sterling's face instantly turned pale. She said with a trembling voice, how do you know all this? The utterly foolish, blinded by greed woman before me was truly not a good match. I regretted wasting 5 years of my time and effort on her. I mentally slapped myself hard twice for my poor judgment of character. Victoria Sterling, you thought you hid it well. Unfortunately, you forgot I told you I am the Davison family heir, the scion of the Davison fortune, Ethan Davison. She instinctively frowned, thinking I was lying, convinced I had found leverage to force her to compromise. She suddenly rushed to me and grabbed my arm. Ethan Davison, tell the stock exchange that all your evidence is false, that it's just a tactic to win me back. As long as you help me, I'll agree to anything. I pushed her away forcefully. Victoria Sterling, it's too late. You've lost your chance. Her eyes bloodshot, she said word by word, as long as you clear my name, I'm willing to marry you. Trevor Miller, hearing this, suddenly rushed towards me. Ethan Davison, you bastard. To steal my wife, you're truly vicious. We'd rather not go public than let you kept man, pretty boy, succeed. He raised his hand, intending to hit me, but I caught his wrist. Trevor Miller, save your breath. What you should be worried about right now is yourself. He froze for a moment. What do you mean? They truly were, 2 peas in a pod, on the verge of ruin and still oblivious to what they were about to face. I kindly enlightened him. Do you think Victoria Sterling will protect you? She can barely protect herself right now. Do you think she'll take all the responsibility for you? Trevor Miller's face instantly turned pale, and he abruptly turned to Victoria Sterling. Victoria, you won't abandon me, will you? Victoria Sterling looked at him coldly, her voice devoid of warmth. Trevor Miller, you take responsibility for your own actions. Trevor Miller froze upon hearing this, then pointed at her belly and questioned, Victoria Sterling, you're pregnant with my child, and you're treating me like this. Victoria Sterling's face instantly changed. What did you say? Trevor Miller pulled out a prenatal report, ultrasound report, and handed it to her. You're pregnant. Victoria Sterling's expression changed again and again. She suddenly grabbed Trevor Miller's shoulders. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Trevor Miller explained dejectedly. I was going to tell you today. But now everything's ruined. Everyone had already understood from their inconsistent dialogue that something was amiss. Victoria Sterling, realizing she was powerless to salvage the situation, stumbled back a few steps, her face ashen. I watched it all coldly, feeling no ripple in my heart. Just then, the stock exchange doors opened, and a group of people in uniform walked in. Ms. Victoria Sterling, Mr. Trevor Miller, we are a joint investigation team from the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, and the Public Security Bureau. Please cooperate with the investigation. Victoria Sterling's face lost all color. She collapsed to the ground, mumbling, it's over, everything's over. Perhaps due to emotional agitation, and after their tumultuous night, she clutched her stomach, clearly in great pain, having experienced some discomfort related to her pregnancy. Seeing the two of them in this state, who could fail to understand? Karma, what goes around comes around, had come for them, with the fastest speed. Insults were endless, even nastier than those hurled at me earlier. Having no desire to watch this farce any longer, I turned and left, never looking back. Stepping out of the stock exchange, a black Maybach conveniently pulled up beside me. The car door opened, and a sweet-faced woman stepped out, her voice urgent. "Ethan, are you okay? Did that little bitch hurt you?" Charlotte, or my sister, nervously checked me from head to toe, and only relaxed after confirming I wasn't injured. "It's all Charlotte, or my sister's fault for being late, letting you get bullied." I looked up at Charlotte, or my sister's familiar face, and all the grievances poured out. "Charlotte, or my sister, I was wrong. I want to go home. I miss mom and dad." Charlotte, or my sister's heart ached for you, him, as she gently embraced me. "It's okay now. Charlotte, or my sister, will take you home. No one will ever bully you again. If you don't want an arranged marriage, strategic alliance marriage, no one will force you." I held Charlotte, or my sister, finally letting down all my guard. Just then, Victoria Sterling and Trevor Miller were escorted out. Victoria Sterling saw Charlotte Davison, and her eyes widened abruptly. You're Charlotte Davison, from the prominent Davison family." Charlotte Davison. Charlotte, or my sister, looked at her coldly, her voice chilling. "Victoria Sterling, you have some nerve to bully my brother. Get ready to rot in jail." Victoria Sterling heard this, and looked at me as if I were a hot commodity. "Mr. Davison, this is a misunderstanding. I didn't know she was your brother." "A misunderstanding? You cheated on him behind his back, used him to make your company strong, and now you've used him, and then cast him aside in front of so many people, every single action. And you still dare to call it a misunderstanding." Victoria Sterling suddenly knelt down, pleading with Charlotte, or my sister. "Ms. Davison, I was wrong. I truly was. Please spare me. As long as the Davison family steps in, I'll be fine. I'm willing to marry Ethan. No, I'm willing to abort the child and marry Ethan, and my listed company will be my dowry." Charlotte, or my sister, scoffed. "Spare you? Do you think that's possible? You're truly reaching for something far beyond your grasp, dreaming big when you're unworthy, wanting to abort the child and marry into my Davison family. Do you even deserve it?" Victoria Sterling saw that Charlotte, or my sister, wouldn't help her, then turned to me, her eyes full of deep affection, as if she hadn't been the one pushing me to the brink earlier. "Ethan, I was wrong. I truly was. Please, for the sake of our past, spare me." I looked at him coldly, my voice calm. "Victoria Sterling, when you pushed me to the brink, did you consider our past relationship? If I were an ordinary person, I would truly have been pushed to the brink by her step by step. Those insults and online bullying would have been enough to destroy all hope to survive." Without waiting for her reply, Charlotte, or my sister, and I got into the car and walked away decisively. Upon returning to Metropolis with Charlotte, or my sister, Mom and Dad were already waiting at the door. Seeing me, Mom's eyes instantly welled up. She quickly walked over and hugged me tightly. "Son, you've suffered." Dad, usually stern, couldn't help but pat my shoulder at this moment, his face full of "my heart ached for you, him. Silly child. Why didn't you tell us when you were wronged? How could a child of our Davison family be bullied like this?" Leaning in Mom's embrace, my eyes felt sore and gritty, not from the grievances, but from my own willfulness that had caused my family worry. "Dad, Mom, I'm sorry. I was too willful." Dad sighed, coaxing me with immense tenderness. "Let the past be the past. From now on, with us here, no one will ever bully you again." Charlotte, or my sister, chimed in with a smile. "Dad, Mom, don't worry. I've already had Victoria Sterling's and Trevor Miller's matter handled clean. Ethan's reputation won't be affected at all. As for those who dared to spread malicious rumors, gossip online, I've already had people deal with them. I guarantee they won't dare to do it again." Mom nodded, taking my hand and leading me into the house. "Son, from now on, just rest at home. Do whatever you want. If you don't want an arranged marriage, strategic alliance marriage, then don't. Mom and Dad won't force you anymore." I was so moved I couldn't speak, only gripping Mom's hand tightly. In the following days, I lived a life of utmost ease. Mom, Dad, and Charlotte, or my sister, showered me with affection, and the household staff also took special care of me. I woke up naturally every day, ate my favorite foods, and then went to the company with Charlotte, or my sister, to stroll around. Life was easy and carefree. As for Victoria Sterling and Trevor Miller, I no longer paid attention to their news, but because she had caused such a huge sensation to push me to the brink, it was hard for me not to hear about them even if I didn't want to. The results of the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, and Public Security Bureau's investigation were quickly announced. The evidence of Sterling Group's financial fraud and commercial bribery was conclusive. Victoria Sterling, as the primary responsible party, was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Trevor Miller, as an accomplice, was also sentenced to 5 years. All their assets were confiscated, and the company was liquidated. Their former glory instantly turned to dust. Later, I heard that Victoria Sterling personally aborted the child in prison, and her health deteriorated as a result. And Trevor Miller, inside, inevitably suffered bullying. However, none of this concerned me anymore. I only knew that I was doing very well now. One day, Charlotte, or my sister, suddenly asked me mysteriously, "Ethan, do you still remember Chloe, who used to visit our house often, when we were little?" I paused, then smiled. "I remember. She always used to follow me around when she was little. Then she went to study abroad, and we didn't keep in touch much." Charlotte, or my sister, smiled meaningfully. "She recently came back to the country, and I heard she's still single. Do you want to meet her?" I raised an eyebrow, deliberately teasing her. "Charlotte, or my sister, are you trying to set me up?" Charlotte, or my sister, laughed heartily. "I wouldn't dare force you like Mom and Dad did back then, but the Miller family, referring to Chloe's family, girl is indeed good. If you're interested, you can meet her." I smiled and shook my head. "We'll see. Right now, I just want to enjoy life and help Mom and Dad with the group's work." Charlotte, or my sister, affectionately ruffled my hair. "Okay, no matter what decision you make, Charlotte, or my sister, will support you." Hearing this, I felt incredibly happy. Now, with my family's companionship and a life of freedom, what more could I ask for? As for love, I'll let things unfold naturally, go with the flow. After all, I have plenty of time to slowly wait for the right person to appear.